Hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's been a little while since my last video because I ended up going to Devon for work for a couple months and I had absolutely no time to work on this car. In the last video I had a look under the rocker cover and had a little look at the timing chain. I don't think I mentioned before, but I got this car from an auction site and it had stated that it had a head gasket problem. So let's press on with this and get the head off. As you'll see, a lot of the hoses on this are quite tight and they're quite hard to get off. I'm trying not to remove any parts that don't need to come off. But with the tight engine bay like this, you need as much access as you can get. I tried a bit of WD-40 here just to remove any dirt that might have this stuck. After struggling with this for a little while, it was easier to just remove the whole thing from the bottom. Next, I'm getting the cams lined up so the engine's in top dead center. As far as I know, there's no markings to show you when this is at TDC. Instead, you need to keep an eye on the cams. The text on both of them should point up. Now that everything's in position, we can get the flywheel locking tool in. You'll want to make sure you get this in the correct hole. It's the one that is above. This should go all the way in. If it's not, then you're either not in the right position, or like in my case, I just needed to give it a little wiggle before it went in. Next is the cam locking tools. Once this is in, the cams won't move and you know you have everything in the right position. Next, we need to get this exhaust manifold off the back. These all came off pretty easily. Once this is all off, I should be able to free this from the head. But it actually wouldn't budge. And here's another hose that wouldn't come loose. At this point I'm trying to get some more access so I can see why the manifold won't move. After having absolutely no luck with this, I've done a bit of research and turns out there's a bolt underneath the car. It's quite easy to access with the help of a few extensions. Now this hose is restricting the manifold from moving back, so I thought I'd try and remove this and get it out of the way. Again, another hose that wouldn't come off. And after a long battle, I finally managed to get it free. And finally, I've got this off. Now moving on, there's a few coolant pipes here and sensors that need to be unplugged. I made a mistake here and the coolant just spilled out everywhere from that hose. A couple bolts around the thermostat, they were quite easy to access. I believe these plastic thermostats can give people a lot of problems, and it's a part I might consider upgrading. Here I'm removing the tensioner. I think this was a 22mm socket. Now I'll support the engine from the bottom with a jack, and I'll begin to remove the engine mount. This bit was all pretty straightforward. But the final bracket that needs to come off the engine is where the problem started. The reverse Torx heads rounded off on both of these bolts. I didn't film any of this, but I ended up having to cut the heads of these off. I did try a few ways to remove the bolts, but there just wasn't enough room. And with this I can remove the tension off the belts and begin to remove the timing chain. I used a set of pliers here to pull this little cord which has a hook to go on. Once that's off, we can now remove the belt. I'm not sure if this car's had the timing chain or belts changed. Let me know if you think this is an original belt. At this point we're able to raise and lower the jack so we can bring the engine up and down and give us some access to some of the bolts. I obviously didn't think to do that here. The WD-40 here made light work of the crank bolt. With all of that off, we're finally ready to get the timing chain out, starting with the gears attached to the cams. You've got to take care here, you don't want to drop anything down into the engine. Before taking the next gear off, you want to hold the chain up with something. Here I'm using a hammer. These last few screws hold the timing chain cassette in place. There's this one here and 2 more below. The dipstick actually goes through the timing chain cassette, so you need to remove that to lift this up. And like I said before, I'm not sure if this timing chain has ever been changed, but it's very common for the plastic on these to break off. This one still looks like it's all intact. Here I'm removing the vanos. It's got 1 bolt and then it just wiggles out. Now it's time to start getting these head bolts out. I'll go in a crisscross pattern, working from the outside in. For the bolts under the locking tool, I actually couldn't get access to them, so I had to remove the locking tool. This did also mean that the cams moved slightly. I think probably from where the valve springs are forcing the valves closed. I'll correct the position of these when I get everything back together. There's 10 head bolts altogether, and once these are undone, I should be able to just pull this straight off. There's a few additional bits I didn't remove before. They need to come off before you can remove the head. I missed these, but they were all pretty simple to get off. And we finally got it off. Now let's see what we find down there. Already from here we can see a bit of coolant in the pistons. It's pretty grimy on top of these pistons. I'm definitely going to have to clean these up. I'm just wondering what the best way might be. Here's a closer look at the mating surface and the valves. Let me know what you think of this head gasket. Apart from looking pretty worn, I didn't really see anything wrong with it. At first look, there doesn't seem to be anything wrong with the cylinders. However, I do wonder if any dirt has got down into the piston rings. The walls of cylinder 1 look quite clean, probably from the coolant. Maybe this indicates where the head gasket has failed. That's it for this video. I'll need to get this all cleaned up and get the head stripped so it can go down to the machine shop. Let me know what you think of what we found. Could changing the head gasket fix our problem? Remember to like and subscribe. And if you managed to get this far, thanks for watching.